So today we're going to be talking about algebra, more specifically, the different forms of linear equations. Linear equations are usually in three different forms: slope, intercept, standard, and point slope. You can recall from the last video, the equation that we used as an example, y equals 2x plus 1, is in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form can be generalized in this as this, and we'll explain what the m and the b stand for later. Standard form can be generalized as ax plus by equals c. Point slope can be generalized as y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This is basically the slope formula, except they multiplied x minus x1 on both sides. See, when you x equals m. And they just multiplied x minus x1 on this side and on this side to get y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Anyway, each form has its pros and cons. For example, slope-intercept personally is our favorite because it is the easiest for graphing. But I'll go more into these pros and cons after I make a nice graph for them. Pro and con. For slope-intercept form, or y equals mx plus b, for that form, the pro is m stands for slope and b is the y-intercept. The m is slope, b is y-intercept. Intercept. For example, in the equation y equals 2x plus 1, you can immediately tell that the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 1. A con for standard form is that you cannot write vertical lines because their slopes are undefined. For vertical line, make a little graph here. That's the x-axis, y-axis. This is the vertical line, right? For example, with 2 points, let's say that this is 1, this is -1. And this, when we plug those into the when we plug this point into the slope formula, we get, since the x doesn't change at all, the x's are exactly the same. Therefore, the change in x is 0, which would be dividing by 0. And since the slope is undefined, this mx would not exist. So you can't. Con for a slope-intercept is that you cannot write vertical line. Another pro for slope-intercept is that it is easier to graph compared with the other forms of linear equations. For example, you immediately get a point, which is the y-intercept. That's 0, b, e, and you know the slope. So you just So, but based on the slope, you just find another point with it. So with the slope, you can just go up by the slope. For example, in this just 2, you go up by 2 and down by 1. That's already 2 points, and you got a line. Easy. Graphing in a snap. Easy to graph. Those are some of the most common pros and cons in slope-intercept form. But obviously there are many more pros and cons than just this. And with that, we'll move on to standard form. Standard form, make a little graph, on standard form, which is this, ax plus by equals c. The a, the b, and the c they don't stand for anything in particular. Like, they don't stand for the slope, they don't stand for the y-intercept, they don't stand for the x-intercept, they're just integers. So, that being said, you can write a vertical line in standard form. Can write vertical line. However, standard form, as we said, A, B, and C don't stand for anything. So we don't immediately get a point like in slope intercept. We don't immediately get the slope. So in this case, it is much harder to graph than slope intercept. More difficult to graph. Also, standard form, you can find the intercepts, the x-intercept, much quicker than in point slope and in slope intercept form. You just have to, for example, let's say 2x plus 3y equals 6. Find the x-intercept, you just plug in 0 for y, and you get 2x equals 6, and therefore x equals 3. As simple as that, you get the x-intercept. So the x-intercept is easy to find. But another con about standard form is that different equations in standard form can stand for the same line. For example, this equation right here, 2x plus 3y equals 6, 4x plus 3y equals 12, or whoops, 4x plus 6y equals 12. When we graph this equation and we graph this equation, it will be the exact same line, even though they're different equations. So, different equations can stand for the same line. Alright, well, those are the most common pros and cons for standard form. And moving on to point slope form, we'll make another pro and con graph here. Pro, on, and standard form, or point slope form, my bad, looks like this. M x minus x. Slope, or point slope, with point slope, it gives us the coordinates of one of the 2 points. And it also provides us with a slope at first glance. Because an equation in slope-intercept form would look like this, equals 2 times 5 minus x1. That is an equation, slope-intercept form. We automatically get provided with a point, which is 5, 3, and we get provided with the slope, which is 2. So, easily find slope and point. Hence the name, point slope form. But a con with point slope form is that you cannot graph point slope form. You cannot graph an equation in point slope form. You'd have to convert it into either standard form or slope intercept form. Not graph equation in point slope form. I always mess up my R's, my M's. Not very common, but something that I have a little trouble with. Anyway, these are the most common pros and cons for the 3 major forms. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video where we graph these forms.